Think about who sits behind the computer every day on a desk managing that corporation. And if you like it the way you do, then you think they should really be skilled. Well, Cameroon has a lot of upcoming industries and companies. And the thing is, tomorrow, somebody you know might be sitting behind the desk managing it. And ever so often, I wonder, and I wonder if you do too, what level of education do they have to know what they know, to understand me the way they understand me, to be able to plan strategies the way that they do? How do you train a business person, an entrepreneur, on something so intrinsic and so intuitive, such that they can be able to blend the theories that they have learned and everyday practice? Well, right here from where we're shooting, if you walk, I see meters in either direction, I bet you're going to find a school in the tertiary sector, higher education. That's what I mean. But then employers say, as they have said from time immemorial, that one of the major challenges that they face in their business is to find skilled labor. Hundreds of thousands of Cameroonians, if not millions, are unemployed, yet they have the training. I was fascinated only very recently when the government of Cameroon said that they wanted to recruit 2,000 PhD students, or whatever you call a PhD person. And it was welcomed with a lot of media attention and fanfare, and I applaud that. But what that said to me at the back of my mind is, you have 2,000 PhD people languishing at home? That's not good for you. Well, my guest for today's edition of the show is Fortabe Elmin. She's founding president of Fortabe University and country representative for Rome Business School. I am thrilled to have her on the program, and we're going to be discussing issues relating to business or to training business personnel in Cameroon, from accreditation right down to the practice and merging or marrying of training and practice at the place of work. Elmin, you're welcome to the Tipping Point.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. Very excited. I must say, I started to follow you up online. I saw a few of workshops you attended with some people that I know, and then I was like, okay, I'm glad that I had her on my radar. And then we met somewhere on the show like this. And then I was very thrilled to have met you. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Let me just ask you this up front. How do you merge your two jobs so you don't have conflict of interest? You're founding president for Fortabe University and country representative for Rome Business School, right?
Yes.
So how do you do that?
Well, basically, Fortabe University is a higher institution of learning accredited in Cameroon by the Ministry of Higher Education, and we are accredited to run HND, Higher National Diploma programs. Rome Business School is a managerial training institution accredited by the Italian government to run managerial trainings, master's programs, and MBAs. So you find that we do not, naturally, we do not have a conflict of interest. So it's easy.
Someone also qualified you as a serial entrepreneur.
Well,
okay, so tell us a little, what do you do in your spare time?
Business. I think I look at the needs of the society, and I think of solutions. I don't think I'm a serial entrepreneur yet, but I think I am doing a lot of things in the domain of business. A few years ago, about 9 or 10 years ago, I started a consultancy firm, which I called Job Shop, which was basically in human resources, and I like the topic for today. And then we were doing placement of employees in small businesses. A few years down the line, I got into teaching, and I taught in the university. Then I thought I should do something in the line of training professionals, not just for small businesses, but training government officials, training professionals to work in big corporations. Then I thought of social entrepreneurship. It's a hot topic. A lot of people want to get into social entrepreneurship, but many Cameroonians are still quite lost as to what that really is. So I started doing some things in social entrepreneurship, free stuff, offering free internet space to young people in Bamenda, organizing the first social entrepreneurship conference we call Kansas Hill in Bamenda, and then doing other things online, like creating an online platform to help people in remote areas, especially now with the socio-political crisis we have, to be able to study online. So I think I plan because I have a passion to serve. I have a passion for education, so I plan my work very well, and I always have time to identify problems and to seek solutions to those problems.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad in that introduction you said something that is very key to our conversation today. And that is, you have been in the atmosphere, in the places where people look for skilled labor. And I'm saying, if we want an engineer, we're not just talking about someone who went to school, has a degree in engineering, but who can give us some fascinating structures. I mean, I asked a friend of mine, why don't we have skyscrapers in Cameroon? Or why haven't we started building with steel already? Why are we still trailing in the world ever so often? And so my question today is, I don't think that we have shortage of educational facilities. I think they are almost littered everywhere. I don't know if it's a function of the cost, but why don't we have enough skilled labor to meet the needs of the marketplace? Because the market is making demands on labor that we haven't written checks for yet.
Yes, that's very important. I have this conversation every now and then with my staff, and I think that the issue is where we are coming from. In Cameroon, what we notice is that people look at education first, then they see the need later, rather than looking at the needs of the market first, and then designing curricula, and then creating structures to fit the need. So the problem really is this mismatch between the needs of the market and the educational institutions that are created, their vision, their mission, their objectives, and especially the curricula that they draw up.
So let's talk about the curricula.
Yes.
Take entrepreneurship, for example, and it is almost becoming viral in Africa, and maybe Cameroon hasn't picked it as much as much of East Africa and West Africa. But if you walk down the streets of Moliko, where I was used to, or Aqua here in Douala, you'd find that a lot of Cameroonians are telling you, I want to become an entrepreneur. How do you train entrepreneurs? Using your experience in a business school, because most certainly we can't get it from a medical institution,
well,
or we can get it from an art institution. So how do you train something that is, I don't know if you have enough tangible tools to imbibe into someone's brain or knowledge. How do you train something that is just practical or almost intuitive, and put that into someone's head?
Yes, you know, usually what people do is to pick up a program from outside Cameroon and try to implement here. This kind of one-size-fits-all ideology, it doesn't work. In entrepreneurship, it doesn't work, because you would hardly have a kind of training that will make someone move from just a farmer to become an entrepreneur per se. The key is the passion to create, the passion to solve problems, the passion to make money while solving problems. I always talk about this.
So passion to make money.
Yes.
I should write that down.
Write that down, please.
Very true. Because so often when you talk about passion, it doesn't, you almost seem canal if you are passionate about making money.
No, we should make money.
It's a very entrepreneurial spirit.
That is what entrepreneurs do, make money, because they have to keep making money. And if you cannot make money today, then you cannot make money tomorrow. So we have to keep making money. So the kind of training we offer our students is, first of all, to develop the passion to create and to solve problems. That's the first thing. Now, do you see avenues for improvement in your society? Do you think that you can solve this problem and make money solving this problem? We need to start from there. Then we tell them, listen, this is how others have been able to make money. This is how others have been able to create big companies and make money out of these companies. this is what you can do. There is no classical. I should say we have programs like entrepreneurship and innovation, entrepreneurship and creativity. Those programs by themselves do not make successful entrepreneurs. So it's an ensemble of things. We try to change the mindset, to look at problems in the environment, to look at opportunities. We train them to be able to know that nobody gives them opportunities. They have to seize opportunities. That's the kind of training. We let them know that to be successful as an entrepreneur, then you don't sit and wait for the government to give you. You don't sit and wait for your parents to tell you you can do that. You go out there, you work hard, you look for opportunities, you grab them, and you become an expert in trying to turn things around. That's entrepreneurship. You're doing great with your program. I may not be as good as you on this program, but I may look at things that you're not doing exactly the way I would imagine, and I come in with the kind of background I have, with the training, my knowledge of my environment, and try to make sure that I do even better, and I make money in the process. So the training we give is quite holistic. Understand your culture, understand the environment, develop passion for something, become more creative, look at little things and see what you can make out of little things. That's the kind of training. It is not academic.
So let's talk about environment.
Yes.
For a little bit. Someone has said we should add it to one of the P's in marketing.
Yeah.
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 Because
yes.
it's a very serious
yes.
a factor in terms of positioning.
Yes.
But when I talk to young entrepreneurs in Cameroon, and I ask them, who inspires you? Who are you following? I always hear 9 out of 10 times Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, and stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, seriously, you don't know Alaji Baba Dampolo?
No.
I mean, you don't know these people
Yes.
that are our everyday reality. You don't learn from them.
Yes.
You've never gone online to
Yes.
Google them, to write to them and say, I want to learn under you.
Yes.
But you know what Steve Jobs ate, where he slept,
You know
and
what
everything
Mark
about
Zuckerberg
his
wears, that. Yes.
So, are we getting away from content that is relevant to change our local business realities?
Yes, we need to move away from irrelevant content. Those things are, the story of Steve Jobs inspires me, inspires a lot of people around
me too, so.
But I don't focus on those because the realities of the environment are different. You can learn from his hard work, his persistence. You can learn from, the way he treated his staff. But then he took advantage of factors around his environment, which are not exactly the factors we have here. That is why we have to come down to our Dampolo, to our Dangote, to our Mambe Churchill, and the rest of them, so that we see how they exploited the factors around them in their environments to be able to create what they've been able to create. So I think it's high time we come back down to our reality, because this is what we are missing. I said before that we import a lot of these things, bring home, and we think, okay, it's just going to work like that. No, we have to adapt this to our realities. That is when we can create entrepreneurs who really can create value.
I was reading early this morning a report about training business people, and someone said maybe we should move the training, especially the practical realities in Africa, away from training about entrepreneurship to training for entrepreneurship. Because it looks like the rhetoric thus far has been, this is what an entrepreneur does, this is this, but do we really have the skills that prepare us for the challenges that we face? Okay, Cameroonians are unemployed, but how many Cameroonians are on the internet if you want to create jobs for them on the internet? So maybe you should start thinking, instead of creating jobs for us on the internet, get us more access to internet. So
yes.
That's more practical.
Yes.
How do we pick up these things from the streets every day and make up a sustainable business story?
Let me share my example, my experience, what I do. I look around me every day and I see opportunities. I do not go on the internet because we do not have up to 40% of young Cameroonians on the internet. So it is going to be a bit myopic to think that we want to create opportunities just on the internet. There are lots of opportunities in garbage disposal areas. There are a lot of opportunities in our villages, on the farms. There are a lot of opportunities in the sea. There are lots of things that people see every day. What we do at the level of Otabe University and my team especially, we look for simple realities and we use them when we teach about entrepreneurship and we train for entrepreneurship. I like the quote you used, because it's important that we bring back our young people to see the opportunities that they have around them. It goes beyond reading books on entrepreneurship. I don't do that. Reading books on entrepreneurship and reading stories and going to class and relating those stories. Yeah, one or two could inspire the young people, but it doesn't give them the skills that they need to transform, I don't know, cocoa into rubbing oil, and it doesn't give them that. So it's a kind of melange we have. That's why at Otabe University we do not just have higher education, we also have vocational training, the skills. We make sure that we marry the theory and the practice. We send the students out to volunteer with small institutions to see what practically they do. We send the students out to see what real entrepreneurs do every day, because that's what will add value.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. We have to move away from just training about entrepreneurship to start training for entrepreneurship. The opportunities are there, but we need to start giving the opportunity for people to be able to exploit those. I don't want to talk about creating infrastructure, because I don't like to go with this narrative. We do not have enough infrastructure. We do not have adequate. We have a lot, but I think
build on.
Yes, I think what we need to do is to build on what we have and exploit what we have. We do not have total access to the internet, yes, but we have quite some access to the internet. The young people who have access to the internet, what do they do with their time? They have to exploit this access to the internet. I think what we should do is help them to develop the skills and not just teaching them the theory. This is where I think there's a little bit of a problem in our reality.
Now, interestingly for us and for this program, you are with Otabe University and also Rome Business School. And sometimes the impression we get, especially from employers, is the value degrees that are accredited from the West and from abroad more than what's happening on the ground.
Yes.
But then we have several people who've come from abroad and they are unable to handle the realities on the ground.
Yes.
Because they've studied abroad.
Yes.
Their thesis or their research project or whatever they did was on some problem abroad. Things that maybe Africa or Cameroon is 10 years to even start experiencing.
Yes.
And so it's not very relevant.
Yes.
But we still place a high premium on this. How do you give value to local institutions such that we can begin to trust the manpower that they bring?
Excellent. You know, I always say you cannot give what you do not have.
Yeah.
Employers, entrepreneurs, they need to make money. They have the passion to make money. They are results driven. And they want you to join their institution today and tomorrow start making money for them. There is no other way out. So why they place a lot of value sometimes is because these people come from outside ready to start making money. That's the secret. They are ready to start making money. You're also right to say so many times they are not cognizant of the local realities. But I think that the little secret is people who studied abroad were trained to adapt their knowledge and their skills. They were trained to adapt. Here, I think if we want to add value to institutions so that they can train manpower that these multinationals would value, is to train people who can adapt to the realities in the environment. That is it. So you see, that's why I said it's quite tricky, because we give the theory, we tell them what the books say, but this human aspect of it, this understanding my culture, understanding the culture of this company, understand why people behave the way they do, understand how they are going to react or respond to a program like this one. Once we miss out, the value is no longer there. And employers do not settle for anything less than what brings money to their coffers. So we need to add value by incorporating programs, incorporating courses that add value, that train people to adapt to local realities, and that train people to be able to see opportunities and grab them. That's the difference.
A decade ago, or almost 2 decades ago, maximum, if you had a first degree in Cameroon, you were a hero, you were a superstar. 5 years after that, you had a master's, you needed to have a master's degree to be something.
Yes.
Now we have, at least showing from the head of state's inaugural speech, we have at least 2,000, let me assume that, PhD students. Now that's a huge number for me. A country that has educated over 2,000 of its own to that level, those are the ones that are unemployed. So it looks like the higher you go, the value of education is diminishing. I don't know if my hypothesis is correct, but it seems that way to me, because now we have more people who are educated, and yet we have less practical hands-on skills. I want to ask this.
Yeah.
Is the cost of training affecting the quality of training that we are getting? Must you pay the huge sums? And you know what it would take to do an MBA. What does it take to do an MBA at Rome Business School? How much?
The tuition is 800,000 francs.
Okay, 800,000 francs.
Yes.
If I told my daddy that, he'd be like, man, stay with your first degree, all right? But, so, if I were to travel to Rome to study on that same program, it would be way more,
About 10 million francs CFA.
Okay, that's huge. So we have the advantage that you've brought that to us. Okay, I don't want to call names. I might get into trouble. But then there is another program, not very far from where you're doing Rome Business School and Fortabe University and all of this, who claim to offer you a diploma or something similar. I don't know what name to call it. I'm afraid to call it an MBA because that may be libelous to my course.
Yes.
But who offer something like that, and they say we can do it for you for 50,000.
Oh. Okay.
So, and your program would sell itself as we're more professional.
Yeah.
And I have actually enrolled into MBA programs that said we're more professional, and I left after 2 weeks because I could not see in 2 weeks where you're going to take me to.
Yeah.
So, is this drop in the value of education a function of the cost that we're either not paying enough, or we're trying to have enough schools so everybody can at least get a master's degree? So the master's degree is not so expensive, or the PhD is now not so expensive. You can just manage with the 300,000 and you'll get it. Is that what is diminishing the value, or something else?
Well, I don't like to talk about cost when I talk education and training.
Okay.
I don't like to do that. But I have to underline.
Why, if I may ask?
Because this is more a kind of public service we're doing. When you're in education, you're doing a kind of public service. It's not really supposed to be all about the cost. Sadly, that's the reality. So many times it's about the money. But then also I need to say that education in Cameroon and around the world is still an important investment, okay? It's still an important investment, and to get quality, you need to pay. Like for every other commodity, you want a nice suit like this one, you have to pay the price. You're welcome. So yes, I think in our society, it's not really because of the cost. I think it's more about information.
Okay.
Those who are ready to invest in education to get the right training, to get the right skills, may not have the right information about where to find the best quality. Now, before I expatiate on that a little bit, I want to say that so many times you find people who have no idea what it takes to do what you're doing professionally, trying to train people to do it. So you're sitting here, you're doing this thing, and many people have never done it before. But they have read a book, That says this is how Richard started, and now they train people, you know, Richard did this to start, and you can start yours. This is far removed from reality. You need people who have the skills and the experience and even the attitude to be able to train other people. So I think we started from somewhere with theory. We started giving people theory and graduating many young people into our society with a first degree, and they think that the world is under their feet, and then they do not do anything to add on to what they already have. They do not acquire skills. Then it continues like that. So you give only what you have. Now we perceive the drop in value because the environment around us is changing. Just imagine for 1 second that the environment was static. You wouldn't notice that the value is dropping. Now the value is dropping because the world is becoming more and more competitive. The demands are higher to give value. Now you begin to see that, hey, what we are doing here doesn't really help us to compete. Now you perceive the drop in value. So I think we are starting a new generation. We are starting a new era, training young people who master the art of doing certain things, especially entrepreneurship. These are the people who can train younger ones to do it and do it practically well. Okay. See, so this is not just about a PhD. I don't have anything against PhDs. It's not just about master's degrees. You can have all the degrees in the world, but you do not add value because the master's degree or the PhD is not relevant to the market realities. That's where the problem is. It's the relevance. Okay. So you talked about 2,000 PhDs. What PhDs do they have?
Okay, I didn't think about it that far.
Okay, so they may have political science, they may have history, they may have modern letters. Do you think our market environment needs those PhDs right now? They may be excellent, they may be good in those things, but you see, the level of competition we are talking about, you and I here, we are looking at entrepreneurship, we are looking at innovation, we are looking at creativity, technology,
and all of these things.
You know, and so you need people who can create value in those areas and not just to be able to meet up.
Thank you very much, for those insights. But before I leave you, I have one more question.
Please.
And I want to ask you in the form of a story.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking at this screen. In school, when I was studying journalism and mass communication, I asked my teacher once, why didn't you give me an A grade for this course? And he said, Richard, this is TV production. And if I gave you an A grade, it means that you have mastered this course. Have you ever sat in front of a teleprompter before? And I was like, I ain't never seen that thing, so I don't know what it is. And now that's what leads me to my question. Do we have what it takes to be able to train and competitively fix this economy?
We have what it takes. We have technology. We have passion-driven Cameroonians. We have the desire of the government, and we see our head of state pushing us to be daring, teaching us to embrace information technology. We have that, but we need more.
Okay.
We need young people who want to do more. We need young people who are driven to work harder. Okay. We need more people who are driven to take advantage of what they have already. We need parents who should drive their children to live their passion and create something new. We need parents who want to invest in quality education and training. We need more, but I think we have the basis to build something to train professionals that can move our economy forward. We have that, but we need a lot of effort from everybody to be able to do even more and stay competitive.
Thank you very much, Elmin. And on that note, we need more. You can continue following the conversation online. You can follow us on Richard Atem-Ojong on YouTube, on Facebook. That's how you'll see us. Elmin is on Facebook as Fotabe Elmin, right?
Yes.
So you can also follow her, and then you'll see links to Rome Business School and Fotabe University and all of those things. And we'll continue this conversation. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. We need more. So let's get out there and make it happen.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until some other time, God keep you. Bye-bye.